pleasure always.
Thank you, all time in here. Thank you. And hello, everyone. Hello to everyone who is here in the room, and hello to everybody who is here online. Thank you for being here. So as Barbara mentioned, my name is Monte Leach, and on behalf of the Share International Network, welcome to today. And Barbara explained who we are and what our work consists of. So I can just skip that part of my talk completely and go on to my next section. So I did want to mention up front that we have a booth, if you haven't already been there, which we have volunteers such as myself who will be there after the talk to explain more, to answer your questions if you have questions to ask. And for the folks online, at the end of the presentation, I will make known information on how you can find out more about what I'm talking about today. So, as Barbara said, our work consists of making known the presence in the world today of a great spiritual teacher, Maitreya, the world teacher, who is the teacher for the Aquarian age. He's here with a group of similarly wise teachers known as the Masters of Wisdom. And so that's part of our work, to make that information known to the world. And as also Barbara said, the other part of our work is transmission meditation, which we'll get a chance to experience later on together. And it's basically a group meditation that was introduced to the world by one of these great teachers, one of the Masters of Wisdom, as a way that anybody can simply but powerfully help the world. And as I say, you'll get a chance to experience these energies of the Masters and Maitreya a little bit later on. So just to give you an overview of what I'm going to be talking about today, I'll go into who these great beings are, Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom, their return now to the everyday world, what their priorities and concerns are, and then I'll explain what transmission meditation is, the very simple technique involved, and as I just said, we'll get a chance to experience that. So that's kind of how the program is going to run today. So just as to begin, when I was first introduced to this information that I'm going to be presenting to you today, and when I was first introduced to transmission, many, many years ago now, I've been doing transmission for a while. And I was been very fortunate to be able to take part in a transmission group for all these years. And this work really has changed my life completely. And it's given me a sense of hope for the future of this world, despite all the crises that we see happening in the world. It's given me a sense of hope, and it's also given me a path of service where I can help the world. And it's made all the difference to me in my life. And maybe today, this presentation will have a positive effect on your life as well. I hope so. And at the very least, I hope it'll give you a sense of hope for the future of this world. We really need that sense of hope today. So one thing I wanted to also mention at the very beginning is we are facing many crises today in the world. It's very clear. But I wanted to emphasize that we're not facing these crises alone. We're not, as humanity, alone trying to figure out what to do in the face of all of these crises. We have help. We have always had help of a very profound spiritual kind to help us in the name of Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom working from behind the scenes. They have helped us, they have guided us, they have protected us for many, many thousands of years from behind the scenes. They have lived in the mountains and the remote areas of the world. So now at this very critical time for the world, where literally the future of our planet is at stake, these great teachers are coming into the everyday world. They're already in the everyday world to help us and guide us through this critical time. So basically, we don't destroy this wonderful planet that we have now, which we could do if we don't go in the right direction. So they're here now in the everyday world to help us through this critical time. So another important point to make is, although they are here to help us, and they are helping us now behind the scenes, people don't know that, but they are, moment to moment, 24/7, 365 days a year, they are helping us, humanity, but we are not aware of it, of all the things they do to help and protect us. But they cannot save this world. They can't save us. That's up to us. We have to save ourselves. We have to make the right decisions. We have to take the needed actions in response to their inspiration and guidance. They cannot do the saving for us. They can only inspire us and guide us. But we have to do the work. And I just wanted to make that clear, because sometimes people think, well, these great teachers can come and just save the world for us. It doesn't work that way. They can't do that because it would be an infringement of our free will as humanity. It's like if it's a teacher, if you have a teacher in a classroom, the teacher can't do your homework for you. You don't learn anything, right? So we have to do our homework, we have to learn our lessons, and we have to make the right decisions to save ourselves. So what is their advice? What are they here to teach us? So Maitreya has said that he is here to teach us how to live together in peace. How to live together in peace. That's why he's here. So how do we do that? He says the key is sharing. SHARING, sharing. Sharing the earth's food, other resources among all the world's people, so that everybody has enough food, shelter, healthcare, and education to live the basic necessities of life that we all need to live. And Maitreya is here to inspire us to do that. Because he says when we share, we create justice in the world, economic and social justice. When there's justice in the world, we can create peace in the world. And if we don't have peace, as we can see now, we have nuclear weapons that can destroy the whole planet. So if we don't have peace, we don't really have much of a future. But Maitreya knows that we will come back from the precipice of where we're at and make the right decisions and choose to take that path of sharing to save ourselves. He knows the hearts of humanity, and he can see that we're going to make the right decision to do that. Another way of looking at this is when we take the first steps towards sharing among the nations of the world, we build trust among the nations. So when we have trust building among the nations, we can work together, we can cooperate to solve all of our problems. I mean, all of the major problems that we're facing in the world are global problems that take cooperation to solve. So if we have that level of trust, which we can get through sharing, then we can work together to solve all of the world's problems, including the climate crisis as well. And when we trust each other, we don't have to spend trillions of dollars on weapons, on the military that we're doing now. We could put that to meet human need, and we could solve all of our problems that way. So it's sharing leads to trust, leads to peace. That's basically Maitreya's message, the world teacher's message for this age. So it might seem a bit far-fetched that we will share the world's resources. If we look at the world now, it doesn't seem likely that people are going to want to share the resources of the world. It will take a change of consciousness, a change of heart, really, among humanity to do that. That's what it's going to take. And that's really why Maitreya and the masters are here, to help us have that change of consciousness, that change of heart, to help us change our view of the world, to allow us to see that we're all one human family, brothers and sisters of one family. And in a family, in a human family, in our own family, if somebody has more than they need, we share it with the other people in our family who may not have enough. It's just a natural, intuitive action that we take. But we don't tend to see people on the other side of the world who are going hungry as our brothers and sisters. They're over there. We're over here. We're not connected. So Maitreya and the masters are here really to help us see one another as we truly are, which is one human family. And so Maitreya and the masters will inspire that change of heart, that change of consciousness that we need to begin to implement sharing and change the world. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about who these masters and Maitreya are, because probably people are not familiar with who they are. It's not really commonly known. So the existence of the Masters of Wisdom was first written about in the West by a woman named Helena Blavatsky in the late 1800s. She lived with the masters in the Himalayas for about 3 years. She wrote books about their teachings, which are called the Ageless Wisdom teachings, because they go back eons of time and they underlie all of the world's religions and philosophies. So she introduced the existence of the masters. Then fast forward about 50 years, then another great disciple named Alice Bailey, who also worked with the masters, brought forth more of their teachings to the world. And then in 1948, she published a book called The Reappearance of the Christ, which foretold the events that are happening now, that these teachers are going to be coming into the everyday world. At their head, their leader, the world teacher, also known as the Christ, will come with them out into the world. And she said that would happen around 1975. So as it happened in 1974, a British artist, esotericist named Benjamin Creme, who was trained over many years by one of these masters of wisdom, he brought into the world the information that these great beings were going to be entering the modern world, and that they are entering the modern world, the everyday world now. So he began his work in 1977, and a little before that, 1975, saying the masters and Maitreya are coming forth into the everyday world to help us and teach us. Maitreya at the head. And Benjamin Creme, to get this information known to the public, he founded a nonprofit group called Share International, which we all are part of here. It's a worldwide network. People are volunteers all over the world to make this information known to the world. He was also the editor of Share International magazine, which I'm US editor of, but he was chief editor of it for many, many years. He passed away in 2016 at the age of 93, I think. But the magazine is still going, getting our information out to the world. And just to point out, he wrote 12 books. He did lectures all over the world. He was editor of the magazine, and he received no compensation at all. He was a volunteer, like we all are volunteers. So there are groups all over the world now working to make this information known. But it was really begun by Benjamin Creme. So the Masters of Wisdom they're human beings like we are. The only difference between the Masters of Wisdom and ourselves is they have gone ahead of us in evolution. So how do we evolve? How do we progress in spiritual development. It happens over lifetime after lifetime of experience. In other words, reincarnation. We all have lived thousands of lives, and it's like a school. Each life, hopefully, we get a little closer to graduation, and eventually we graduate. The difference between us and the masters is they started school a long time before we did. So they have progressed way ahead of us and have perfected themselves. But all of us will get there eventually someday. We will all become masters of wisdom someday. So after the masters graduate, so to speak, after they've learned all of their lessons that they can in the world, some of them stay behind in school to teach the rest of us to raise our own consciousness, to raise our, basically our level of consciousness. And that's how humanity evolves, through the stimulus of the masters. The masters work through their disciples in the world. So if you think of anybody throughout history who has made any impact at all, whatever field, they've been a disciple of one of the masters. Aristotle, Plato, Einstein, Mozart, Beethoven, Da Vinci, more recently, Martin Luther King, Eleanor Roosevelt, and I think very much so recently passed Jimmy Carter, President Carter, who I think was a great man, great humanitarian. So whatever field, the masters work through their disciples to uplift the consciousness of humanity. They've done so for many, many thousands of years. And our consciousness has been raised. It may not seem like it these days sometimes, but if you compare it to how we were thousands of years ago, we've made a lot of progress. And at this point in history now is a very, very special point in history, because we're at the turning point between one great cosmic age and another. We're at the turning point between the Piscean age and the Aquarian age. So it's not just a kind of a song from the 1960s about the dawning of the age of Aquarius. We really are in the age of Aquarius. So new energies are pouring into the earth from constellation Aquarius. The problem is, one of the problems at this critical turning point is people are still trying to hold on to the old ways of the previous age, the Piscean age, which are very, very divisive and I would say very much leading to conflict. But people are attached to how things have been done. They want to hold on to these old ways, even if they're not working. And so that's some of the people. But we also have a lot of people, especially young people now, who are responding to the new energies of the constellation Aquarius, which are pouring into the world, which result in unity and people looking for peace, searching for peace and justice and unity in the world. So we have these two opposing forces happening in the world, people who want to hold on to the old and people who are embracing the new. That's why we see some of this conflict at this time. So at this critical point in time, and throughout history actually, at the beginning of new ages and other critical points in time, the masters send one of their own, one of their great teachers into the world to show humanity the next step forward for us. We know some of these teachers as Zoroaster, Krishna, the Buddha, the Christ, Muhammad. At this time, right now, where we can destroy this planet, this critical time, the masters have sent the master of all the masters, Maitreya, the world teacher, into the world, and Maitreya, the world teacher, is here now among us, living among us in a physical body. I point that out, not just as the Christ spirit, but actually in physical form. He's here among us, still working from behind the scenes, but I'll explain that a little bit later. So Maitreya is probably a name you haven't heard about. So who is Maitreya? Well, from a religious standpoint, all of the major religions expect the return of their teacher. So if you're a Christian, you expect the return of the Christ. If you're a Muslim, you expect the Imam Mahdi. The Hindus expect Krishna. Buddhists expect Maitreya Buddha. They have his name right, Maitreya Buddha, the fifth Buddha. And the Jews await the Messiah. So those of us who are part of the ageless wisdom tradition, they know that all these different names refer to one person, the world teacher, and they expect his return now. So Maitreya is here not as a religious leader, not even as a religious teacher, but as an educator in the broadest sense of the word, to educate humanity, really. Religious people, non-religious people, it doesn't matter. He is literally a world teacher for all, how many ever billion people we are, 8 billion people, for everyone. So, as I said, that Maitreya and the masters work through their disciples in the world to help change the world. But one of the other ways they change the world is they send great spiritual energies into the world that they have access to, out to humanity, to uplift humanity, to move us forward. And these great energies form the basis of transmission meditation, which we're going to experience in just a few minutes. So that's two ways that they work to uplift humanity. And the third way that they work to uplift humanity is actually literally physically in the world, working behind the scenes to work to help to inspire us to work toward peace and reconciliation in the nations. It may not seem like we have a lot of peace and reconciliation in the nations, but as I said before, it's up to us to respond to them, their energies and their efforts. They can only do so much. We have to take the actions to make the decisions to work for peace and make peace in the world. It's up to us. So you might ask, why haven't we seen Maitreya yet? Well, his coming into the world is a cosmic event. It affects not only our planet, but all the planets of the solar system. So there are many factors involved in the timing of his emergence. One of the factors, as I understand it, is that he needs to find the most opportune moment where he can see humanity is ready to accept him, accept his teachings of sharing and justice and peace. So when we demonstrate that we're ready to accept positive changes in the world, he can come forward publicly. So how do we demonstrate that we're ready for positive change? Well, in my opinion, one way is, who do we vote for in the elections? That's one way. Another way we demonstrate we're ready for positive change or not ready is demonstrations, protests, the voice of the people. As so many people are out there now today, especially young people, calling for change, justice, peace, saving our planet. That to me is one of the most hopeful things going on in the world today, is young people out there calling for peace and justice. And those are Maitreya's priorities. Those are along the lines of what Maitreya is calling for. And he said, anybody who works for peace, justice, sharing, his energy of love pours through them all the time. So anything we do along those lines, he sends his energy of love to help us. So when Maitreya determines that it's the most opportune time to come forward publicly, he will make himself known gradually and become more and more known. But he will not come forward and call himself Maitreya Buddha or the Christ or any of these other names. He wants us to recognize him for what he is saying rather than who we think he might be. So he's going to come forward as one of us. So when enough people have seen him and recognized him in some way, they will invite him to speak to the whole world. We will invite him to speak to the whole world simultaneously at once. And this day, which has never happened in the history of the world, the great teacher for the age will speak to all of humanity simultaneously at the same time, which is what simultaneously means. And he will do this through the linked satellite networks of the world. So we will, on that day, which we call the Day of Declaration, we will see Maitreya on the television screen or your computer screen, whatever you will see him. But he will not actually speak, but his thoughts will enter into our minds in our own language. So in English for us, but whatever language is your native language, we'll hear his thoughts in our own language, calling for justice and sharing and peace in the world, and calling on us to change the world. At the same time, he has said, you will feel his Christ energy, his energy of love pouring through the hearts of everybody. He said it will be as if I embrace all of humanity. And then the third thing is we will experience thousands of healings. People will have healings occur on that day, the Day of Declaration. So in those three ways, we'll know this is Maitreya, the world teacher, here for all of humanity. So how our choice at that point, what we decide to do will determine the whole future of the world. To share, to go forward in peace and justice, or to continue on in the old greedy ways. Maitreya knows we will choose the path of sharing and peace and justice, and our future is very bright indeed. So this is a message of hope. I just want to emphasize that. That's why I'm here, is to hopefully give you a sense of hope for the world. But as Maitreya says, it's up to us. Things don't just happen by themselves. We have to take action to create this positive world. So one of the things we can do to help the world is transmission meditation. And any form of meditation is a way for us to link ourselves with our higher self, our soul, who is really who we really are. So the difference between transmission and most normal meditations is transmission is a group meditation, as we'll experience. So we're a group here. And it's also done not just to benefit ourselves, although it does, it's done to benefit all the world's people, all of humanity. So it's done as a service to the world. So how do we do transmission meditation? It's very simple, as the title of the talk says. What we do is, the first thing we do is we say together the great invocation. And I think we have the cards here somewhere. Did everybody have a card in the room? No. We had blue cards here somewhere. So if we can hand those out, so everybody can say the great invocation together. That's kind of important because saying the great invocation, that brings forth the energies of Maitreya and the masters. So now, does everybody have a great invocation on them? And no. Okay, I think Our Lady in the back still needs a blue card or something. You don't have any blue cards. Great. And for those of us online, I will show the great invocation in this very high-tech format, which is called a piece of paper. And so the people who are watching online can say the great invocation along with us. So hopefully everybody here has one. I think we have one lady over here who still needs a great invocation.
Oh, I got this from last time. It's at my house.
Okay, so hopefully everybody's got one now. And okay, we're good. So So the first thing we do is we will say together the great invocation, which brings in the energies of Maitreya and the masters. Then we bring the attention to the ajna center, which is the point between the eyebrows. It's one of the major energy centers we have in our body. So we put the attention here, and then if we notice our attention wandering off during the meditation, we say the sound Om to ourselves. We think it. We don't say it out loud, we just think the sound Om. And what that does is it connects our brain with our soul. And once we have that connection made, the transmission of energies takes place. So Maitreya and the masters will then send out these energies wherever they're most needed in the world to help the world. We're asked not to send them to any particular person or place. We let Maitreya and the masters determine who and where these energies should go. And these are the energies which can and are transforming the world. So that's basically it. We say the great invocation, which everybody has or will have. We put the attention between the eyebrows, the ajna center, and when we notice our attention wandering off, we say the sound, we think the sound to ourselves, Om, and that brings the attention back. That's all there is to it. So that's about it for transmission and the talk. So does anybody have any questions before we begin the transmission? Seeing no questions, and I can't see any questions online, so we can start. So what I'm going to do is to help our attendees online, I'm going to stand in front of the Zoom camera and hold the great invocation up so people can read it. And how we say it usually is we pause a little bit in between the stanzas. So that's how we normally do it. So I think everybody can see that. Okay, so we'll go for about 15 minutes or so, and then at the very end, I'll come back and let you know how you can find out more information about all of these things we've been talking about today. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. It's about 15 minutes. So thank you everyone for being here. Whether online or in person. If you're here in person, want to find out about how to take part in transmission meditation going forward, we have a sign-up sheet in back. Somebody will send you information. We also have a list of transmission groups, mainly on Zoom, but one in Berkeley as well, live, so you can take part in that. We'll also be at our information table to answer any questions you have. If you're online and you want to find out more information, the best way is to go to our website, which is www.share, that's SHARE, hyphen, international.us. That's share, SHARE, hyphen, international.us. And one final thing I'll mention to everybody, which is there's a great new online TV series that's available on SoulSearch TV, where Tangela Islam, who's founded SoulSearch, which this is the SoulSearch Expo, talks to one of our co-workers, Michiko Ishikawa, in conversation, 5 episodes. It's a great series, and I recommend you check it out. So you go to soulsearch.tv/on-demand. And the name of the series is called The Promise, Humanity's Coming of Age. It's a great series. I think you'll enjoy it. And again, thank you so much for being here.